Look at you, so fragile. Emotions swirling around in that little head of yours like a storm you can't control, huh? Anger, fear, sadness, they've got you by the throat, don't they? Choking you, making you weak. It's funny, really. You think those feelings make you strong, that if you hold on to them tight enough, you'll somehow win. But let me tell you a secret. They're eating you alive, tearing you apart from the inside out, and you're letting them. You're letting them rip you to shreds while you sit there shaking, screaming inside your own mind. Pathetic. But oh, there's something beautiful in your chaos and your pain. It's where the real strength lies if you can just learn to control it. You see, emotions, they're like a bomb. Hold them too close and you blow up. Let them run wild and they burn everything down. You think you're angry at the world, right? You think you're sad because it all went wrong. But guess what? The world doesn't care. People don't care. That sadness, that rage, it's nothing but a leash. You're walking around, letting your emotions yank you whichever way they want, making you their little puppet, and you're too blind to see it, too busy crying, too busy shouting, like some pathetic little kid. But I'm going to teach you something tonight. How to take those feelings, that misery, that anger, and make them work for you, not the other way around. You've been holding on to all that pain, hoping it would give you power, right? Hoping that if you just let it out, maybe, just maybe, things would change. But listen carefully. Pain doesn't change things. Control does. Power comes from taking those wild, thrashing emotions and putting a leash on them. Because here's the thing, emotions are stupid. They don't think, they don't plan, they just react. You're sitting here letting them drag you around like a dog on a chain, and the more you give in, the tighter that chain gets, until one day, snap, it breaks you, and you're left in pieces, wondering where it all went wrong. You want to know where it went wrong? When you let your emotions own you. But it doesn't have to be that way. No. See, you can turn this around. You can take all that anger, all that sadness, and twist it, mold it into something useful. Picture this. You're still angry, but now you're in control. You're not some mindless wreck swinging wildly at the air. You're calculated. You know when to let the anger burn and when to snuff it out. And when it's time to strike, you strike with precision. No wasted motion, no pointless outbursts, just cold, focused rage. That's real power, not this mess you've got going on right now. But don't get it twisted, it's not easy. Oh no, it takes work. You've got to stop thinking like a victim. You've got to stop thinking like someone who's constantly getting pushed around by their own feelings. You've got to start thinking like a hunter, like someone who knows that emotions are just tools, weapons to be used when you need them, not when they feel like it. Imagine this. Next time you're about to lose it, next time the sadness comes crashing in like a wave, you don't flinch, you don't break, you control it. You turn that sadness into cold, calm resolve. You take that rage and sharpen it into focus. And then, when you're ready, you let it out but only when it's useful. Only when it gets you what you want. Here's the funny thing, kid. Once you learn how to control your emotions, you'll find out just how much of a joke they really are. All that crying, all that screaming, it's just noise. Noise meant to distract you from what's really important. Control. You think the world gives a damn about how you feel. It doesn't. People don't care about your tears, about your anger. But they respect power. They fear control. And once you have that, once you can look them in the eye and smile while they're losing their minds, then you've won. Because you've got something they'll never have: discipline. They'll flail around, scream and cry like babies, but you'll be calm, collected, and dangerous. You'll be calm. And here's the best part. Once you master this, you'll become unstoppable. You'll become the one pulling the strings, not the one dancing to the tune of your emotions. You'll learn to laugh at the pain, smile at the anger, and turn the sadness into fuel. People will look at you and wonder, how did you become so cold, so calculated? How did you stop being weak? And you'll just smile, because they'll never understand. They'll never get it. They'll be too busy feeling while you're too busy winning. That's the real joke, isn't it? They'll never know the freedom that comes with control. But don't think this is going to be easy. No. Controlling your emotions, it's going to hurt. It's going to break you in ways you've never been broken before. You're going to have to kill parts of yourself, the parts that cling to hope. That life's supposed to be fair, that people should care. You're going to have to cut out the weakness, the sentimentality, all those soft spots inside you. And trust me, it's going to hurt. But once they're gone, you'll be stronger than ever. You'll be free from the chains of your own feelings, and that's worth all the pain in the world. You have a choice, kid. You can keep letting your emotions control you, let them beat you down and keep you small. Or you can take them on, own them, and turn them into your greatest weapon. You can be the one in charge. You can be the one with the power. But it's all up to you. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to save you from the mess you've made inside your head. It's on you to rise up, to take control, to become something more than just another sad little puff. But don't think for a second that just because you control it, the pain's going to disappear. No. It stays. It's always there, lurking in the back of your mind. But instead of letting it tear you apart, you learn to live with it. You carry it like a weapon, a sharp blade tucked away, waiting for the right moment. The world is built on pain, kid. It thrives on it. The people who win there, the ones who learn to thrive with it. While everyone else is trying to avoid the hurt, trying to escape the fire, you'll be walking right into it, grinning, because that's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. You embrace the suffering, and in doing so, it no longer controls you. And that's what scares them the most, isn't it? People, society, they want you to be controlled by your emotions because it makes you predictable. It makes you easy to manipulate. But when you're the one pulling the strings on yourself, when you decide what you feel and when you feel it, that's when they can't touch you anymore. They'll look at you and they won't understand how you can stand there calm, unbothered, while they're falling apart. You'll be the storm that can't be shaken, and they'll fear you. Not because of your rage, but because of your calm. Because you've mastered what they never will, the power to control the uncontrollable. So here's your choice. You can let your emotions keep running you into the ground, keep letting them drive you to ruin. Or you can take the reins and use them for your own purpose. Because at the end of the day, it's not about getting rid of the chaos inside. It's about mastering it. You want to rise above? You want to be more than just another sad, broken mess? Then own your pain. Wear it like armor and laugh in the face of whatever comes next. Trust me, kid, the world's a lot more fun when you're the one with the last laugh. So are you going to keep letting yourself drown in that sea of emotion? Or are you going to stand up, take a deep breath, and learn to control it? Because once you do, this world is yours. And let me tell you, there's nothing more fun than watching it burn when you're the one holding the match. Remember this, control doesn't mean silence. It doesn't mean pretending the emotions aren't there. It means channeling them, using them like gasoline for the fire inside you. It means smiling when you should be screaming, standing tall when everything around you is collapsing. When you master that, when you can wield your anger, your sadness, your fear like weapons, that's when you become truly dangerous. And once you're dangerous, once you can dance with chaos without losing yourself, the world will bow before you, kid. Not because it wants to, but because it has to. And when you've mastered all that, when you've turned every ounce of pain and rage into your strength, there's one final thing to remember. You're not doing this for them, not for the ones who doubted you, not for the ones who hurt you, and definitely not for anyone's approval. You're doing this for you. Because in the end, when the world burns and all the noise fades away, the only thing that will matter is who's still standing. And if you control your emotions, if you control the chaos inside you, you will be the last one left standing, laughing, while the rest of the world crumbles. Now take all that pain, that fear, that anger, and don't waste it. Don't let it rot you from the inside. Twist it, shape it, and let it mold you into something the world can't ignore. Because the truth is, no one's coming to save you. It's all on you now. So go ahead, make your choice. Be the victim or be the one who pulls the strings. But remember, kid, once you cross that line, there's no going back. Control your emotions, or they'll control you. And when you finally understand that, you'll be free. And Freedomo, that's when the fun really begins. You think you've heard it all now, don't you? You think you've got it figured out. But let me tell you something else, something deeper, something darker. There's a reason why the world doesn't reward weakness. A reason why people step over the broken, the bleeding, the sobbing masses lying in the dirt. It's not because they're cruel, it's because they know that survival belongs to the strong, to the ones who don't break, to the ones who don't beg, to the ones who don't cry. And if you want to survive, if you want to thrive, you need to become one of them. You need to shed the skin of the person you were, the person who clung to hope like it was salvation, the person who thought kindness mattered, the person who believed in fairness and justice and love. That person is dead no more, at least. They should be. Because the world doesn't care about your dreams, your wishes, your prayers. It cares about power, about dominance, about control. And if you want to carve out a place for yourself in this brutal, unforgiving world, you need to become untouchable. Untouchable doesn't mean invincible. It doesn't mean you'll never bleed, never hurt, never fall. What it means is that no matter how many times you hit the ground, you get back up. Every single time. It means that no matter how hard they hit you, you hit back harder. It means that no matter how loud they scream, you stay silent, calm, calculated. Because here's the thing about noise, it's distracting. It clouds your judgment, dulls your senses, makes you reckless. And recklessness gets you killed. But silence is deadly. Silence is power. Silence is the absence of weakness. And when you've mastered silence, when you've learned to stand still while the world spins madly around you, that's when you become dangerous, truly dangerous, because the world fears what it doesn't understand. And it doesn't understand someone who doesn't play by its rules. What are its rules, you ask? Simple. Cry when you're hurt. Scream when you're angry. Beg when you're desperate. Those are the rules of the weak, the rules of the herd, the rules of the ones who will always be prey. But you're not prey anymore, you're the predator now, the hunter, the one who watches silently from the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Waiting for the perfect moment to show them just how powerless they really are. And when that moment comes, you'll move with precision, with purpose, with intent. You won't hesitate. You won't falter. You won't second guess yourself. Because hesitation is death. Doubt is defeat. And you don't have room for either of those things in your arsenal. Your arsenal is full of weapons, now weapons forged from the very emotions that once destroyed you. Weapons sharpened by pain, tempered by fear, fueled by anger. Weapons that will cut through anything that stands in your way. And here's the best part. No one will see it coming. They'll look at you and they'll see the same fragile, trembling mess you used to be. They'll think you're still weak, still vulnerable, still easy to crush. And that's their mistake, their fatal flaw. Because beneath the surface, beneath the calm exterior you've so carefully constructed, there's a storm brewing, a storm of rage, of resolve, of relentless determination. A storm that will obliterate anyone who dares to stand in your path. But they won't know that not until it's too late. Not until the first strike lands, swift and merciless, leaving them reeling, gasping, broken. And by then, it won't matter, because once you've started, you won't stop. Not until you've taken everything you want, everything you deserve, everything they tried to keep from you. But here's the catch. You can't do this halfway. You can't dip your toes in the water and expect to swim. You have to dive in head first. You have to commit fully, completely, irrevocably. Because the moment you hesitate, the moment you doubt, the moment you let even a sliver of weakness creep back in, you're done. Finished. Over. The world doesn't tolerate half measures. It doesn't reward partial efforts. It demands everything. And if you're not willing to give it everything, then you might as well give up now. Save yourself the trouble. Save yourself the pain. Because the road ahead is long, and it's brutal, and it's unforgiving. But if you're willing to walk it, if you're willing to endure the agony, the isolation, the endless nights spent staring into the abyss, then you'll emerge on the other side stronger than you ever thought possible. Sharper, deadlier, unstoppable. And when you reach that point, when you've shed the last remnants of your old self, when you've buried the person you used to be so deep that they'll never claw their way back out, you'll realize something. Something profound. Something terrifying. Something liberating. You'll realize that the world isn't as big as it seems. That the people who seemed so powerful, so untouchable, so invincible, they're just as fragile as you once were. Just as breakable, just as disposable. And that realization, that knowledge, that's what sets you apart. That's what makes you dangerous. Because while they're still clinging to their illusions, their hopes, their dreams, you've already seen the truth. You've already accepted it. And acceptance is power. Acceptance is freedom. Acceptance is the key to unlocking everything you've ever wanted. So here's my final gift to you, kid, my final lesson, my final truth. The world is a battlefield, a war zone, a slaughterhouse, and you're either the butcher or the meat, the predator or the prey, the victor or the vanquished. There's no middle ground, no safe space, no refuge. You either fight or you die. And if you choose to fight, if you choose to rise, to conquer, to dominate, then you'd better be ready. Ready to bleed, ready to suffer. Ready to sacrifice everything you've ever known, everything you've ever loved, everything you've ever been. Because that's the price of power. That's the cost of control. That's the weight of the crown. And if you're not willing to pay it, then step aside. Let someone else take your place. Let someone else claim your throne. But if you err, if you're ready to do whatever it takes to become whoever you need to, Bethan, welcome to the game. Welcome to the war. Welcome to the top. Because once you're there, once you've climbed the mountain, once you've reached the summit, you'll see just how small everyone else really is. And you'll laugh. You'll laugh because you'll know the truth. The truth that they'll never understand. The truth that sets you free. The truth that makes you unstoppable. The truth that says, control your emotions or they'll control you. And when you finally understand that, you'll be free. And freedom, that's when the fun really begins. You think you've got it now, don't you? You've swallowed the first lesson, chewed on the bitter truth of it, and now you're sitting there smug, thinking you're ready. But let me tell you something, this isn't over. Not even close. What I gave you before was just the foundation, the bare bones of what it takes to rise above the chaos inside you. Now, we're going deeper, darker, because controlling your emotions isn't just about turning pain into power. It's about understanding why you feel what you feel, why it claws at you, why it haunts you. And once you understand that, you'll see just how much farther you have to go. Let's start with fear. Oh, fear, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It doesn't roar like anger or sob like sadness. No, fear whispers. It creeps in when you least expect it, wrapping itself around your spine, freezing you in place. Fear tells you that you're not good enough, that you'll fail, that the world is too big, too cruel, too much for you to handle. And most people listen. They bow to it. Let it dictate their every move, their every decision. But not you. Not anymore. You're learning to take that fear, that icy grip around your throat, and turn it into fuel. Because here's the thing about fear. It only exists to warn you, to prepare you. It's not your enemy, it's information. And once you stop running from it, once you face it head on, you'll realize just how weak it really is. But facing fear isn't easy. Oh no, it's going to hurt. It's going to dig its nails into you, try to pull you back into the darkness. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is the blade you use to cut through the fog of fear, the anchor that keeps you steady when everything else is spinning out of control. Discipline isn't natural, it's cultivated. It's forged in the fires of discomfort, of sacrifice, of relentless effort. And trust me, it's not glamorous. There won't be any applause, no cheering crowds, no pats on the back. Just you, alone, doing the work day after day, even when you don't want to. Because that's what separates the strong from the weak, the willingness to do what needs to be done, regardless of how hard it is. Now, let's talk about anger. Anger gets a bad rap, doesn't it? People call it destructive, uncontrollable, dangerous. And they're right if you let it run wild. But anger, like fear, isn't inherently bad. It's energy. Pure, raw, untapped energy. The problem isn't the anger itself, it's how you use it. Most people throw it around like a child, throwing a tantrum, screaming, shouting, breaking things. But you're smarter than that. You know that anger can be channeled, focused, sharpened into a weapon. When someone wrongs you, when life knocks you down, you don't lash out blindly. No, you wait, you plan. You strike with precision, hitting where it hurts the most. That's the difference between being a victim and being a predator. Victims react, predators act. And then there's sadness, sweet, suffocating sadness. The one emotion everyone wants to avoid, the one they drown in wine or numb with distractions. But sadness, it's not your enemy either. It's a teacher. It shows you what you care about, what matters to you, what you're willing to fight for. The trick isn't to ignore it or suppress it, it's to embrace it. Let it wash over you. Let it remind you of what you stand to lose if you don't get up, if you don't keep moving forward. Use it to remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. Why you chose to rise above the noise, above the chaos, above the endless cycle of suffering and despair. Because here's the truth, kid, the world doesn't reward weakness. It rewards strength, resilience, the ability to keep going no matter what. And that's what you're building here, not just control, but endurance. The kind of endurance that lets you stare into the abyss without flinching, that lets you walk through fire without burning. And yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to break you in ways you can't even imagine yet. But every crack, every fracture, every scare, it's making you stronger, sharper, deadlier. So here's the question. Are you ready to keep going? Are you ready to face the fear, harness the anger, and embrace the sadness? Or are you going to let them drag you back down, let them win? Because if you're serious, if you're willing to do whatever it takes, you'll keep pushing, you'll keep fighting, and eventually you'll reach a point where nothing can touch you. Nothing can break you. You'll be unstoppable, but it's up to you. No one's going to save you. No one's going to hold your hand. This is your battle, your war, your victory. So choose wisely. Because once you cross that line, there's no going back.